This program is sponsored by
Everest Property and Finance,
supported by Australian Migration and Education Consultancy,
Sunrise Remit, अस्ट्रेलियाबाट ढुक्कले पैसा पठाउनुहोस्,
Entertainment, Music and more.
Solve Education Consultancy, Melbourne.
अस्ट्रेलियन ग्रेमी केन्ट ग्रेमी बाजेको नामले प्रख्यात छन्। बाजेको टाइटल कहाँ र कसरी प्राप्त गरे?
Namaste, my name is Graeme Baje, and I'm called Graeme Baje because I've been going back to Nepal now for 20 years. And when I first started, I was the director of a large youth work organisation in Melbourne, and I was invited to meet with 3 young men who wanted to take a party to Nepal to experience a country like Nepal. And at that time we recruited 100 young people, and we were able to go to Nepal for 2 and a bit months. And at that stage I was just a support person. I was the director of the youth work organisation, and we took a fairly major role in taking that group to Nepal. But when I arrived, I discovered that I was really impressed by the people of Nepal, the countryside of course, and the way in which we were greeted was really amazing. So that set the trend for me to be part of Nepal for the next 20 years. So my background is youth work and community development, and in doing that I've been able to create a program that enables participants to go to Nepal to share their skills and to work with local communities in developing projects and activities, training, education that make sure that they are growing and developing as people. So we now have an organisation called Aussie Action Abroad, Aussie being Australia, and it allows volunteers to go to Nepal to spend time contributing their skills. So my background in youth work and community development is grown through our organisation, and we're able to take volunteers, and that's why I'm really excited about working in Nepal and continuing our relationship there. In 1999, 3 guys came to my office, and in doing that they invited me to be part of a program they wanted to term the Millennium Expedition. The Millennium Expedition was really about trying to celebrate the millennium with young people and to take young people between 18 and 25 to Nepal. So we went to Nepal with 100 young people, and it was an opportunity for them to share their skills in an area which we now have become very much part of, and that was Lamjung district. So it was a celebration for young people in 2000. It was an opportunity for young people to volunteer their skills and abilities, and I was invited to be part of that program then. In my office I've been able to create a situation that has all of our resources for our work in Nepal, but I try to decorate it a little bit with our Nepali contributions. So when people walk in the door, they might see a Sherpa door cover. Then there might be some bells or some other musical instruments. But one of the things that I've been making sure that I do is that every time I am given a kata, that comes home with me. So every time I might come back with 30 or 40 of those, and there's always been a question about what I do with them. So I've decided to hang them in the ceiling of my office so that it decorates it but also provides a little bit of insulation. But it's also about colour and remembering the times that I've been to Nepal and the relationship that I have with various groups and individuals that have given me those scarves. So they're precious, they're important, and I really value those as being part of my collection. When we take groups to Nepal, I want to share with them what we would consider as our Nepal. And it really is about the culture, the people, the landscape, the food, the environment in which we're in. We want to be able to make sure that our people have the opportunity of learning about the Hindu culture, the Buddhist culture, and also about that whole religious beliefs that drives the day-to-day lives of people. We think that's important, so we make sure that they go to Pashupatinath and to Baldrinath and visit those two special sites. We also want to make sure that people that we have are part of the festivals as best we can, so that when there is a festival that we want to be immersed in that whole environment because of the colour, the dancing, the singing, the whole scene that is created during those festivals is pretty exciting. And of course you can't go to Nepal without tasting some amazing food or even local drink. So we've been able to take part in many a festival and many families that provide traditional meals, and obviously dal bhat and momos and pasta is all available, but certainly we want to be able to make sure that when we have a homestay that the young people and our teams go into that home and spend time eating and living and enjoying the food that they provide. And it might be a typical gurung meal or a tamang meal or a Sherpa meal, doesn't matter, or Nawari, and it's really about making sure that we have the opportunity of connecting well with the culture, with the food, and with the people that we connect with is really valued. When I first went to Nepal, we had a group that camped on the side of the Kudi Kola in Lamjung district. We set up a camp on the edge of the river, but we were visited many times by local people. The local school would come down, or the local community would come down and share some dancing or some cultural activity. Every day a lady would come down, and I think her name might have been Mrs. Shrestha, I don't know, I can't remember now, but she would always come down from the hills with her apron up, and the apron was full of oranges. Every day she would share those oranges with us because that's all she had to share. She was happy to leave our campsite with some empty tin cans, and she used those for storing of some things in her home. Her home was really basic, and it was a situation that really struck me as being something that was really special. Here I was, an outsider that came into a community that was welcomed and was given food by a lady who had nothing or very little to share other than her oranges or a sundala. And doing that, that was always an impression made on me as to the hospitality, the love, the welcomeness that was given to us by a total stranger. We got to know this lady really well, and over the years we've maintained a connection with her and her family and the communities in which she came from. So that's the sort of thing that motivated me to continue to take groups back to Nepal, to take groups into that area, and to maintain a contact with those people. So Aussie Action Abroad is a registered charity here in Australia. We're registered as a charity because we operate on the basis that all of our funds that we raise go to Nepal. We don't have any employed staff, so everyone that we have, including myself, on our board or our volunteer leaders or our participants, all volunteer to do what they're doing. And it's very much about people paying a fee. That's okay, because we need to manage the participant when they are in the country. So what we do is we charge a fee according to the costs that are associated to their time in Nepal. So it might be that their food, their accommodation, their transportation, we hire Nepalese staff, so we pay for them, and that might be a guide, a cook and an assistant. If they're trekking, obviously more staff if they're trekking, but we pay for them out of that fee. And it's really about managing all that, and that's part of my job with my treasurer on our board, to make sure that the monies that we get are spent for those purposes in Nepal. Then we have the ability, because the Australian government has allowed us to give receipts for donations. So if there is an event like an earthquake or a flood, then we're able to collect money, write a receipt so that people can use that as a tax deductibility donation. We would then highlight where that money is going. So we'll identify a project, and then we'll be able to report back to people where their funds have gone. So if there is a special project following an earthquake or something like that, or if there's a project in a village, then we can identify where that money is going, and we can report back on that. So our program is totally run by volunteers. There's no money goes into a big pot that one day I'm going to have a big gold chair and all those sort of things. I don't do that, because it's really about making sure that every dollar that we raise in Australia goes to Nepal in those projects. When we take groups to Nepal, we actually work on the basis of a really strong community development model. That model is really about working with local communities, having those local communities decide what their project is, to own that project, and to work with us to make sure that project is completed. We work very closely with our planning and our preparation, so that, for example, a mother's group or an Amma Samwa might come to me and ask for support, but their project might not happen for about 2 years. During that time, we plan, we work with them in looking at the funds that are required, the resources that are needed, the support they have from the local community, and it's very much about making sure that we are there to support them, not for us to impose our values or our ideas. Yes, we might be able to create some new ideas, but it's not about us imposing those ideas onto a community. If they want an extension to a school, we'll help them do that. If they want more information about health support and health knowledge, we can provide people who can do that. Or it might be that there's a community that are looking for a community space to meet and to have functions and have trainings. Then we will work with that community to make sure that they can have that facility. And then we might take a team in to help build that facility, and we'll only do that if there is a strong commitment from the local community. There's a number of local people that will come together during that construction phase, and when we leave, we know that they're going to continue the project and their support of that project in many ways, so that when we leave, we know that they're going to own it, they're going to manage it, and they're going to direct the future of that project. So we're just a helping hand in that time to make sure that they can do something that is important to them. I go to Nepal because there's a real special connection that I have with a lot of Nepali people and communities. For me, it's yes, there are some big mountains and there's some fantastic scenes, and obviously the landscape that we are in is pretty amazing. However, the thing that stands out to me is the people that we work with, the people that we connect with, the people that we live with, and the people that are very willing to share what we're doing. So that's the connection that is really special to me, and that is the people. We have a relationship that has gone back 20 years, so there's more family that is the same as I have here. My family here sometimes would say that I spend too much time in Nepal with my Nepali family, But the reality is that you establish a relationship that is really important. So I've seen young people grow from babies through to adults. I've seen families grow and develop through their work. I've seen a range of people that have welcomed me because they see me as part of the family. And I guess that for me it's also about my title, or the title that they use for me in Baje, in that is really special to me because it shows that they accept who I am and my contribution, and the friendship that we have is more than just a passing tourist. So for me it's the people, it's the connection that we have through our relationship, and it's the power that we have as supporting each other in humanity is really important. When we take groups to Nepal, there's always a few challenges. When we prepare people to go, we spend time with them in giving them newsletters and maybe having meetings prior to leaving Australia. But it's always difficult to explain to them that the smells, the noise, the traffic in Kathmandu is really crazy. So there's those sort of challenges that we from a developed country like Australia find really different and really hard to manage. So part of my role and my job is to make sure that our participants feel comfortable and supported. There's certainly times when, during the insurrections and the rebellion time of Nepal, of the political upheavals and so on, that we've had groups that have been really worried by the fighting that might be in the street, or the pressure bombs that were being set off, or the visits by guys that seem to be wanting some more than just to say hello. So we've been able to support our people by making sure that they feel safe and secure and that they're not alone. We certainly have situations where little things like the change of our diet equals people having diarrhea or some food problems, because obviously the food that we have in Nepal is very different to the food that we might have here in Australia. So again, we try and manage that and have people understand that they need to be conscious and careful about the water quality, or the water that they're drinking, the sanitation, and now during COVID, we're obviously more conscious of washing our hands and doing those sort of things. But, when you are in Nepal for the first time, they're the sort of things that happen on a day-to-day basis. So there's the problems of culture, of that shock that we have, that when we arrive is very different to Australia. There's the change of food habits and diet and so on. And there's the change of the environment that sometimes presents some challenges that, we as leaders of the group need to make sure that we look after our people. So as an organisation, we're really conscious of making sure that our people are safe, that are secure, and are supported through any of those challenges that we have. There's often a question asked of me of how long I might be in Nepal, or have I, would I have liked to have gone to other countries. I've had the opportunity of going to other countries through my career, and they've been exciting, they've been rewarding, but nothing has touched me like Nepal in my heart. And it really is about making sure that those relationships that we have, that the people that we work with, that the projects that we develop are continued as long as we can. I'm going to make a commitment that that I will be working with Nepali communities for as long as I am here, and that we will continue to develop our organisation with the support that we might have, and that means some financial support or whatever else that might come our way. But we want to make sure that our organisation and the work that we've created continues for many, many years to come. And I'd like to think that as a legacy, when I pass on, that project, that activity continues to be, because we've set it up in such a way that it'll continue to develop and provide programs. So our commitment is for the long term, our desire is that we are able to continue to support Nepali communities and families, and that we will be able to continue in one way or another, but we seek support to do that and partners to do that, and we want to make sure that we don't have any regrets. There's no way that we will have a regret about going to Nepal. It's about maintaining that for the future. So down here, I'm lucky that I have a really good wife, and she's one of a group of people that she brings together to help make hygiene packs for girls. So we have a team of ladies that are all over the countryside that come to here once a month, and then they cut out and they sew and they actually prepare a hygiene pack which is made up of a number of items. But this hygiene pack is used by young girls throughout our countryside of Nepal, and we take them over with our luggage, and we've probably done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them over the years, and it's really exciting that we're able to contribute in that way. And the ladies that are here, just again volunteer their time and their effort and their materials to make that happen. So it's good. Well done.
Thank you.
Pleasure. We did Everest Base Camp with a friend a number of years, 10 years ago now. So this is where I've created a theme of Nepal. This was a kata that was given to me at the time of our head man of our trekking company passed. He was killed in an accident at Bawada Stupa. So that's special because it's really about Rinzi Sherpa, but it's also about remembering the times that I was able to do some major trekking. I had the opportunity of going to Israel a number of years ago. So this is a rock from the Dead Sea, so the lowest point on Earth that we can get to in a sea. And this is a rock from Everest. So I've been able to collect one from the highest mountain to the lowest at minus 400 metres. And they're just little reminders that, I do a little bit of drawing. And this is a kitchen of a young lady that was a friend of ours, or still is a friend. So that was a kitchen that I drew in 2003. But it's just little things like that around our home that reminds me each day of what we're doing in Nepal. So I can't not have areas without having a picture of Bhaktapur. Obviously you can't go to Nepal without spending a bit of time in the back streets of Bhaktapur. So that's really special. And the other special in here was for one birthday that I had. My staff that I work with in Melbourne had this portrait painted. So I don't know, that was probably 10 or 15 years ago now, but it was an opportunity for them to present that to me and share that with me as something special for my birthday. So this is some local Roxy. Cheers. From Lamjung district. So I was able to bring this back from there to share with Nepali community here. So when we have a function or an event, I try and bring some local back home. Cheers. It's good. This is the Order of Australia medal. So the Australian government gives awards to Australians who have been contributing to their community for some period of time. I was fortunate enough to be able to be given an AOM in 2 years ago, and it's an opportunity that I have now to share because it's really about recognition and valuing my work that I do in Nepal. So I really value that. I appreciate the people that nominated me, and it's really important that, as an individual, but also as an organisation, that we have recognition for the work that we do in Nepal.
This program is sponsored by
Everest Property and Finance.
Supported by Australian Migration and Education Consultancy.
Sunrise Remit. अस्ट्रेलियाबाट ढुक्कले पैसा पठाउनुहोस्.
Entertainment, Music and More.
Solve Education Consultancy, Melbourne.